Now, say the word.
Ship.
Come on, don't be scared. Ship. Okay. Number 2. Sounds the same. Sounds the same. Okay, because we look at the animal and say ship. We look at the big thing there in the sea as ship as well. Because when I say ship, looking at the big thing floating, everybody knows that I'm talking about that particular vehicle. And if I look at this animal running as a ship, you know that it's that animal. But if you look at the rules of pronunciation, we have the long and the short pronunciation of these sounds. Okay, we'll get to that very shortly. But because we are very complacent, what is wrong is right, what is right is right. Okay? Now, our pronunciation helps students in learning new words and pronounce them comprehensively, meaning without fail, we should be able to say the correct sound, to produce the correct sound for the correct words for the correct object. Okay, that should be the way. Now, in English, about 70% of words in English, they follow a certain regular pattern. So that's not a problem. But the 30% is a problematic area. Okay, we'll go to that later in the discussion. Students who are taught to recognize phonemic script. Phonemic script is the characters used to describe the sounds of the language. Okay, and this phonemic transcription, you can always find them in dictionaries. If you look up words in dictionaries, words will be given meanings and it will be followed by phonemic script. That is to help you pronounce words correctly. Okay, where shall we get help in pronouncing these words correctly? We have the pronunciation charts. We have people who could articulate the sounds very, very correctly for you. Okay, let me show you the charts here, where actually we could do self-check. Okay, now this is the sound, and we have the phonetic symbols. Okay, the phonetic symbols, the symbols of the sound, and these symbols you could actually find in the transcripts in your dictionary. And why? In this manner, this will give you the sounds. For example, if I click onto this sound, okay, this should produce the sample for you.
E.
Okay, can you hear that?
Yeah. E. Okay.
Okay.
S.
Right. Now these are the sounds. We have 26 letters in the English alphabet. We have 44 sounds, and there is no end to this. Okay, we have 44 sounds, and these are the sounds which we should use correctly in our pronunciation. And one way of doing this correctly is to check against your dictionary all the time if you want to improve in your pronunciation. It was mentioned earlier in the dialogues that you do not need to refer to a teacher. Okay, with these symbols with you and looking at the dictionaries, you should be able to pronounce words correctly. Okay, initially it will sound a little bit funny, because then you will see that I've been saying these words wrongly all my life. Okay, and then now is the time for you to start improving. Person's name is a good question. Throw it to the friends. This is like our LMS. Question here is, does this apply to pronouncing of people's names? Come on. English names. Okay, English names. Because this is the rule in English. And again, in English, if you recall earlier, native speakers of English is also regional. Those in the northern will have different accent. Those in the southern have different accent. Those in the Midlands have a different accent. Okay, We have this word, for example, the vehicle that carries passengers, that long vehicle. What do you call that vehicle? The bus. Okay, the bus. How do you spell? B-U-S. Okay, so that's the bus. In the Midlands, there's a place called Lancaster in the United Kingdom. They call it the bus. They don't say bus, but they call it the bus. You know what's a duck? Yeah? The quack, quack, quack? Yeah? The duck likes to go to the pond, and then we have the duck pond. They call it the duck pond. See, this is the problem whereby native speakers themselves have got different ways of saying words. I'm not talking about accent at the moment. Okay? So these are ways of pronouncing words based on their locality. So if these people, the owners of the language, have got these differences, we are foreigners. Okay, we are foreigners, we are learning the language. So what is important is to pronounce the word correctly. Malaysian accent is not a problem. We should be proud of our Malaysian accent. Just like Kuat Tukang, he's proud of his English. But we are actually not allowed to use PCK's English because it's not applicable to our curriculum of studies. But Mr. PCK is very proud of his English. Okay? So, why then we have to teach English sounds? Okay, we have a pronunciation. Certain English sounds, I've said earlier, may not exist in other language at all, or may be similar but different. The examples earlier, the R. Okay, we are unable to pronounce. Some people are unable to pronounce that word, fried, because of the mother tongue, the first language, does not contain that particular sound. So if you are born without the sound, you will find that it is very difficult for you to pronounce these words. And this is very common in countries like Malaysia, where we have different races, even for Bahasa Melayu for that matter. You go to different states in the country. The Kelantanis will speak differently, the Negeri Sembilan, the Kedah, the Penang, you have your own styles of saying words, even though this word is the same, it comes from the same word, same spelling, but pronounced differently. Actually, that is not accent. That is not accent. Accent is the same word. It is more of a dialect. Okay, that is more of a dialect. Logat here. It's more of a dialect. Okay. But like words like in Bahasa Melayu, if you say makan, makan is the official word for eating. If you go to Kelantan, how does it sound? Make, right? So even though the read on a script is M-A-K-A-N, they will not say makan, they will say make. It's already different in that sense. So that is in Bahasa Melayu. Looking at the same word, pronouncing it differently to suit different groups of people. Okay? So in English, sounds may not exist in other languages. So we have difficulties. So if we want to speak English as how the English speaks English, sometimes we might be able to do that if we spend many number of hours with the English people. Meaning your contact hours, if you are infused into the group of English people for a number of 5 years, 6 years, you might be able to pick up the language and the sound itself.
English people, Europe or US, American people?
Either. If you are in United Kingdom, you pick up the British accent. If you're in America, you'll pick up the American accent. If you're in Australia, you'll speak like the Australians.
Sounds differently, right? Because
it sounds differently.
The spell also sometimes different.
Yes, especially American and English, British spelling, they are different. But again, you see, they all say that they are speaking English. American English, British English,